Alright, Farsticks Jr., use Protect. Protect again. Protect. Protect. Protect.
Enough! I'm gonna change the game to where Protect becomes less likely to land every time you use it. Now let's see you try.
Okay, Farsticks Jr., try really hard this time. Protect. Protect again. Protect for a third time. Protect. Protect.
Are you kidding me?
Protect. Hit that 1 out of 500,000. Protect. What is going on, guys? This is Dobbs here, bringing you another Pokemon video. And in this video, I'm gonna go over 10 Pokemon that changed everything in Pokemon. So yeah, let's do this. Alright, let's start with the Pokemon that inspired this entire video, and that is Aaron Zhang's Rotom Wash. If you don't know who Aaron Zhang is, he's a competitive Pokemon player that goes by the name Cybertron, and has qualified for Worlds 6 different times, so he's a pretty good player. And during his 4th appearance at Pokemon Worlds 2013, Aaron Zhang made it to top 4 and needed one more win to make it to the finals. But unbeknownst to him, RNG was about to kick his butt and chase Pokemon forever. And this is how it played out. During game 1, Aaron started the match with a Will-O-Wisp, but unfortunately it missed, which wasn't a big deal because Will-O-Wisp did have 75% accuracy, so it did miss 25% of the time. So on turn 2, he tried again, and then he misses again. Unlucky. And then after that, he wins the match and starts game 2 and tries to stride again. So again, he goes for Will-O-Wisp on turn 1, but then he gets paralyzed. So on turn 2, he goes for it again, but then he misses it again. And then again, and then again. Yes, this Rotom Wash misses Will-O-Wisp 5 times in a row between the 2 games, which has less than a 0.001% chance of happening, 1 in 1,000. And finally, when he hits the move in game 3, everyone goes wild. Just watch.
The confusion, Rotom gets the Will-O-Wisp, and it hits! Rotom finally gets the Will-O-Wisp to connect!
And from this wild streak of misses 5 times in a row, it is thought that this made Game Freak change the accuracy for Will-O-Wisp from 75% to 85%, and changing Prankster where it doesn't affect Dark-type Pokemon, all because Aaron Zhang's Rotom Wash couldn't hit a move. And along with this Rotom Wash, I have to get a shout out to Aaron's Cresselia, who got paralyzed not once, twice, thrice, but 6 times during the spread of all 3 matches. And because of this crazy streak, it is thought that Game Freak nerfed Paralysis to where it doesn't affect Electric-type Pokemon, all because Aaron Zhang's Cresselia couldn't stop being paralyzed. So yeah, this single match with Aaron Zhang against his opponent changed Pokemon forever. And this is only one Pokemon of the 10 in this video, so stay tuned. Alright, next up we have Ace Roll's Mimikyu from the anime. And this Pokemon single-handedly changed everything we thought we knew about Ghost-type Pokemon. And here's how. If you didn't know, Mimikyu is a ghost of a Ghost-type Pokemon. Yeah, you heard that right. The reason why it looks kind of weird is not because it's a shiny Pokemon, but because it's a ghost of a possible ghost. And I say a possible ghost if the theory that Mimikyu is a deceased Pichu holds up. And just looking at all the evidence, they have to be. But the fact that Mimikyu is a ghost of a deceased Ghost-type Pokemon really changed everything that we thought we knew about Ghost-type Pokemon. Because the theory has always been that Ghost-type Pokemon are spirits of deceased beings. Like, just one of the most recent Ghost-type Pokemon, Bramblin, is said to be a spirit that was unable to move on to the afterlife. And you could quite literally see the spirit of whatever it once was in the middle of his body, its dead grass body. But with Mimikyu's existing, this debunks all the theories and makes Ghost-type Pokemon even more confusing. Like, you see this? This is us right now when it comes to Ghost-type Pokemon. So I guess now there are different types of Ghost-type Pokemon. There are Pokemon that are literally deceased and came back to life as a ghost, and then there are ghosts of ghosts of ghosts. I don't know, I guess we should have stopped trying to make sense of Ghost-type Pokemon once they started hatching from eggs and eating Pokepuffs. But I'm not gonna lie, this phantom right here eating this little muffin looks pretty cute, so they don't have to make sense to me. But yeah, Ace Roll's Mimikyu changed everything when it comes to Ghost-type Pokemon, and that is why it's on this list. Next up, we have Diglett. Yes, a Diglett. Because, you know, as of right now, we have several Pokemon who could claim themselves as the first Pokemon to ever exist. We have Bulbasaur, the first Pokemon in the Pokédex. But then we have Victini, who is number 0 in the Pokédex. But then also we have Rowlet, who was in a Pokédex before both Victini and Bulbasaur. But then we have Mew, who is supposed to be the ancestor of all Pokemon. But then there's Arceus, who is the god of all Pokemon and created everything. But then we have the true Arceus, who is the god of everything and created Arceus avatars. But then we have Rhydon, who was the first Pokemon programmed into the game with the index number of 001. But then we have these two creatures who are probably Nidoran and Gengar doing a Pokemon battle in this early Pokemon concept art. But then we have Tyranitar, who was drawn in a magazine before Pokemon was even a thing. But then we have Mew again, who was the first Pokemon trademarked in 1990. Well, what if I told you all those Pokemon are in fact not the first Pokemon, and the first Pokemon is really a Diglett? Yes, a Diglett. Because this NPC right here at the Game Freak headquarters in the Alola region mentions that he used to draw Diglett as a kid, meaning that this Pokemon predates everything by at least 20 years, if not more, which changed everything when it comes to who is truly the first Pokemon in Pokemon. Mind blown. Next up, we have Shiny Zigzagoon, and I know, I've covered this one in the past, but it was too good to leave out in this video topic. It really did change the game. Now, if you didn't know, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire had a glitch known as the Berry Glitch, which caused all counter-based events in the game to essentially stop 1 year after the game initially started. So let's say you planted a berry on day 365 at starting your game and you woke up the next morning. The berry would remain ungrown and frozen in time for another year before turning into a sapling, hence why it's called the Berry Glitch. It would just freeze your game in time. And it didn't just affect berries, it affected friendship evolutions, daytime evolutions, the lottery, random TV shows, secret base battles, and even the tile that Feebas spawns on. That Feebas will be stuck on that one tile for an entire year and then move on to another tile in a year's time, which I guess would be an upside to this game-breaking glitch, so if you wanted that, then go for it, bro. But anyways, in order to fix this glitch without internet access, Game Freak created a program called the Berry Program Update, which consisted of patches from later games, bonus discs from GameCube games, and even e-reader cards that you would find in magazines. But out of all these options, the most rewarding patch out of the bunch was the GameCube Interactive Demo patch and the GBA Cartridge patch, because both these patches came with a Shiny Zigzagoon holding a Rare Mirage Island Lychee Berry. So technically the Shiny Zigzagoon changed your game by updating it so that counter-based events will start to continue again, making this Pokemon very unique and very game-changing, which is also why I covered it in my 10 unique Pokemon video that y'all should check out here. But yeah, this Shiny Zigzagoon literally changed the game. Alright, let's shift gears to another Pokemon in the anime, and that Pokemon is Duplica's Ditto. Now, this Pokemon didn't quote-unquote change the game, but it definitely changed how Ditto is perceived in Pokemon media. Because in the anime episode Ditto's Mysterious Mansion, it is established that all Ditto are able to transform into other Pokemon perfectly. But when it came to Duplica's Ditto, not so much, because it could not change its face when it would transform. Well, unless you scared it, then it could transform perfectly, but besides that, it could not transform its face. And again, it is established in this anime episode that this is an oddity, and not normal whatsoever, which is even backed up in the games where all Ditto could transform into other Pokemon perfectly, even humans. And eventually, by the time they end the episode, Duplica's Ditto finally learns how to transform his face into other Pokemon's faces, making it just another regular Ditto. But like we all know, this oddity stuck with all Dittos moving forward, and from then on out, anime, merchandise, and even a few Pokemon games like Pokemon Snap have Ditto transforming with Duplica's Ditto's face, changing Ditto forever. And you know what's funny about this Ditto is that it's pretty much an oxymoron, because let me get this straight, by being the only Ditto to not be able to transform his face, then inspired all other Ditto in the anime to transform with a silly face, which then makes Duplica's Ditto, who overcame this silly face syndrome, the only Ditto in the anime who could transform perfectly. Have y'all ever seen Face Off? It's literally a movie about Nicolas Cage and that guy from Grease, John Travolta, where they do like a face-off with their faces literally off and they change faces. This Duplica's Ditto reminds me of that, kinda. It is truly a unique case with Duplica's Ditto, and it definitely changed everything. Next up, we have a move that changed everything in Pokemon, and that move is Body Slam. Now, it's always been common knowledge that Pokemon of a certain typing are immune to certain status effects, like Fire-type Pokemon being immune to getting burned, or Poison-type Pokemon being immune to getting poisoned. But what if I told you this wasn't the case in the early Pokemon games? Well, enter Body Slam, the move that changed everything in Generation 1 nearly 20 years later. Because on a random forum post on Smogon in 2014, a well-renowned Generation 1 researcher known as Crystal figured out that normal-type Pokemon were immune to getting paralyzed by the move Body Slam. And after further research, they concluded that Pokemon of the same typing were actually immune to the move's secondary effects, not the status condition itself. Okay, I know this sounds really confusing, so I'm gonna put it very simply. In the early games, Fire-type Pokemon are not immune to getting burned, but they are actually immune to the secondary effects by Fire-type moves. And since the only way to get burned in Generation 1 is by a Fire-type move, Fire-type Pokemon are indirectly immune to getting burned. Which is why in Generation 2, the move Tri-Attack can burn a Fire-type Pokemon. It's because it's a normal-type move, not a Fire-type. You see where I'm going now? And this changed everything when it came to Generation 1 competitive battling, because it meant that every battle simulator out there was playing Pokemon wrong. Which leads me to Exhibit A, Golem. Golem was destroyed by this discovery, because after all the battle simulators were updated, Golem went from being on every competitive team to virtually none of them overnight. All because high-tier normal-type Pokemon like Chansey and Snorlax started running the move Reflect, which became a lot more safe to use given that they couldn't get paralyzed by the move Body Slam anymore. Which meant that Golem couldn't one-shot them anymore with its explosion, causing it to fall from grace and becoming a useless Pokemon. So yeah, nearly 2 decades after the release of Pokemon Red and Green, Body Slam changed everything in Generation 1 competitive battling, which makes it worthy of this list. And also shout out to Frieze for making a really informative video about this whole topic. It's definitely worth the watch. Alright, this next one is going to change the way you look at Gimmighoul. It is going to blow your mind. Because what if I told you this Pokemon has been around since the very beginning? I'm talking about over 20 years ago back in Generation 2. Well, it's possible, and I know this is a very far-fetched theory, but check this out. You see, in Pokemon Gold and Silver, there's a character known as Mr. Pokemon who has a hobby of researching Pokemon discoveries. And these discoveries can range from new Pokemon eggs to the red skill that the shiny Gyarados drops, the red and blue orbs that control Groudon and Kyogre, to even strange coins and magazines that he collects in his house. Yes, you heard that right. In the original games, if you interact with Mr. Pokemon's desk, it will say that it's a whole pile of strange coins and that maybe they're from a different country. And do you know which region has strange coins? Paldea. But it doesn't stop there, because if you interact with this bookshelf, it will say that it's packed with foreign magazines. And do you know which region associates Paradox Pokemon with magazines? Paldea. Even in the remakes, if you interact with the bookshelf again, this time it'll say that it's chock full of Pokemon books. And do you know which region has Pokemon books for their Pokedex entries? Pal-freaking-Dea. Oh, and not to mention that he's a giant computer in the middle of his house. And do you know which region has a giant computer in a location called Area 0? I'm gonna go with it's Paldea. Gimmighoul has been played since the beginning of Pokemon, and Mr. Pokemon himself has something to do with it. I don't know what he's up to, but he's connected to Paldea in so many ways. And this changed everything with Gimmighoul with its roots in the lore of Pokemon. It really makes me wonder if there are strange coins in every single Pokemon game just scattered around in hidden places. We need to start a campaign and just start looking everywhere for these strange coins. Let me know in the comments down below or tweet me if you find any. This is a game changer. Next up, we have Clefable and Tauros. And these two Pokemon changed everything when it comes to Pokemon Red speedrunning. And I know, you're probably saying right now, Dobbs, you talked about it time and time again how Nidoking is the best Pokemon to use in Red speedruns, since it has access to Horn Drill and Earthquake and fast moves like Thrash. Well, it's not. Nidoking is not the best Pokemon for Red speedrunning. Well, if you're a robot, that is. Yeah, let me explain. It turns out that Clefable is a monster, because in the task speedrun for Pokemon Red, which is a tool-assisted speedrun, Clefable can literally manipulate its metronome to do anything it wants. Oh, that's a water-type Pokemon that's weak to electric-type moves? Well, metronome critical thunder. Oh, that's a grass-type Pokemon and you're paralyzed? It doesn't matter. Metronome flamethrower critical, you're dead. Oh, that's the god of all Pokemon Arceus in front of you that shouldn't exist in Generation 1? Metronome, I don't give a f. You see what I mean now? And it becomes even crazier when you reach Tauros in the Safari Zone. Because as a task robot, you can encounter Tauros whenever you want. You just gotta manipulate it and capture it with ease. And then once you teach it Horn Drill, you are good to go, because you will hit that Horn Drill on everything without fail every time. Yeah, this Clefable and then this Tauros utterly destroys Nidoking on all fronts. It literally shaves off 15 whole minutes from the world record speedrun of Pokemon Red. Abusing Metronome with Clefable and then abusing Horn Drill with Tauros. Hey guys, Dobbs for the future here. I can't really edit the comments here right now because I'm in Japan for Pokemon Worlds, so we're using my phone. But it turns out Clefable doesn't actually use Metronome in the regular Red speedrun. It only uses Metronome in the Fire Red speedrun. That's where I got some confusion there. But still, even without Metronome, it outspeeds Nidoking and is still a beast in the regular Red speedrun when you're a robot in a task setting. So yeah, just wanted to say that, and yeah, let's get back to the video. Literally gets you a time of 1 hour and 28 minutes and 43 seconds, when the world record right now is 1 hour and 44 minutes and 3 seconds, which is already insane. So yeah, Clefable and Tauros changed the game when it comes to Pokemon Red speedrunning. Rest in peace, Nidoking. Next up, we have the Pokemon Ranger Heatran, a very niche Pokemon that changed the game in competitive battling. And I'm going to give credit to Wolfie for this Pokemon because I had no idea this existed until I watched his YouTube short. Now, if you didn't know, back in the day, Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science has special online missions on the RangerNet, and these missions had exclusive Pokemon that you could transfer to the mainline games. It had Pokemon like Deoxys the Shaman who really weren't that special whatsoever, but then it had Pokemon like Manaphy and Heatran, with Manaphy being one of the rare shiny Pokemon they can get in any Pokemon game, and this Heatran, a Pokemon with the move Eruption. And guess which one changed the game more? It was the Heatran with the move Eruption, a Pokemon that should already know this move that lives in a volcano. Yeah, it turns out that Heatran with the move Eruption is pretty game-breaking, because when paired with the item choice specs, this Heatran went on to be one of the strongest special attackers in the metagame. Eruption could one-shot bulky Pokemon like Zapdos, or even two-shot Pokemon like Blizzy or Latios at the same time. Oh, and it could also melt the rocks in the background of Pokemon X and Y if that mattered. I just thought that was pretty cool. And as Wolfie mentioned in his short, this random Heatran was on the 2nd and 3rd place teams at Pokemon Worlds 2013, proving how powerful it really was. So yeah, this little innocent event Pokemon from a random spin-off game went on to change everything in the competitive battling scene, and even Pokemon Worlds. Yeah, who would have known? And finally, for the last Pokemon, we have Whismur, who changed everything for me personally in Pokemon. And want to know how? The moment that I learned that it had a butthole. That is when Pokemon changed everything for me. That is when I realized that we crossed the line and entered a new era of Pokemon with buttholes. Because after Whismur, Game Freak does it again with Bonsly, and then makes only one card just showcasing his butthole straight up and never prints a Bonsly card again. And then again with Skuntank, who shoots diarrhea straight out of his butthole. And then again with Oricorio, where you can only see it in one frame in the anime, which I happened to find out in Lox's top 10 Pokemon buttholes video. Yes, that unfortunately exists. And then again with Zygarde's 10% form, and this butthole is a legendary butthole that glows. Like literally, it glows. So yeah, Whismur knocked on death's door and opened Pandora's box for Pokemon buttholes, which changed everything. Okay, bye. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out my 15 hilarious soft locks of Pokemon video here because it's very funny and awesome. And click that subscribe button and ring the bell.